to the longest running series on this channel, because today we're going to be trying to predict the WrestleMania 41 match card way too far out in advance. This is a series that we did for WrestleMania 40, and we have brought it back for WrestleMania 41, in where we try to predict the WrestleMania card 12 months, 9 months, 6 months, and 3 months in advance. This year, folks, is the 9 months in advance video. And because we are a full 9 months out from WrestleMania, this video is likely going to be wildly inaccurate, so I'm going to be taking a lot of guesses. But isn't it crazy? 9 months out from WrestleMania. It feels like WrestleMania 40 was literally last week. Additionally, I should mention that for this video, I'm only doing 10 matches. I know that there's going to be way more matches on the WrestleMania card, but for these really out in advance videos, I have to be far more conservative. So I only have 10 matches on this match card. However, I know that there's going to be more. This also means that WWE superstars that I know will be on WrestleMania have been left out of this particular video, but rest assured they'll be added in future videos. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm confident you're gonna fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into it. I know that I said that a lot of these won't make sense, but several of these will. For example, Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair, I think is a match that is destined, written in the stars to be at WrestleMania 41. They have decided to keep them as a tag team as opposed to having them go their separate ways, which tells me that they want us to continue to fall in love with them as a tag team for the inevitable heel turn, most likely from Jade Cargill on Bianca Belair. At this point in her career, I just don't ever see Bianca Belair ever being the bad person in the feud. So I'm confident in some way, shape, or form in the road to WrestleMania, maybe when they're tag champions again, that Jade Cargill is going to turn on Bianca Belair some way, shape, or form. I don't know if this match necessarily needs the WWE Women's Championship, but I wouldn't be surprised if it has it. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these two is the Royal Rumble winner. But for now, I'm going to say that this is just going to be a feud fueled by hatred, fueled by the fact that Jade Cargill backstabbed and betrayed Bianca Belair's trust, the person that was mentoring her in the WWE. I think it could be a really great story, and I think that it could be a really fantastic match. The star power is certainly there for this to be one of the marquee WrestleMania matches. So I'm going to say that this one is borderline a lock. I'm confident that we're going to see this at WrestleMania 41. Let's stay with the women and look at what I think is going to be the WWE Women's Championship match between what I think is going to be the champion Tiffany Stratton taking on Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 41. I think that by this point, Tiffany Stratton would have already cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase. I wouldn't be surprised if she's championed by as early as SummerSlam. It seems like Triple H has some trepidations booking women's Money in the Bank briefcases to be long-running Miss Money in the Bank. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tiffany's a champion within the next month or two here. And I think that Tiffany Stratton versus an eventually returning Charlotte Flair is just such an awesome dream match that we cannot leave on the table, especially when Charlotte is in her prime and Tiffany Stratton is wrestling like she is in her prime. It's kind of crazy how good Tiffany Stratton is already in her career that I'm already saying that she should be having these types of matches at a major stage like WrestleMania. I think that this is a money match. I feel like it could be the best match of the night if they're given enough time, like Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley were given at WrestleMania 39. It can steal the show, and it's a match that everyone wanted to see down the line. And if it makes sense for WrestleMania 41, I feel like you should just pull the trigger and do it. I think that this is actually a really realistic option to happen at this upcoming WrestleMania. The John Cena retirement tour is gonna take a pit stop at WrestleMania 41, and it is going to be his last WrestleMania ever. Now, I know that we've heard WWE superstars say that, hey, I'm hanging it up, only for them to come back 17 more times to do 15 more final matches. Ric Flair immediately comes to mind, but I think Cena's serious about this. I think that Cena is done at the end of 2025 and that this will be the last WrestleMania ever for John Cena. So I want to make this memorable. I had two ideas. I ultimately, for this 9 month out in advance video, I'm going to present you with one. I'll tell you what the other one was. The other one was to do Randy Orton versus John Cena at WrestleMania, because I think that you should do Cena and Randy Orton either at WrestleMania or as Cena's last match, because we've never gotten John Cena versus Randy Orton. However, I'm going to say that he should be John Cena's last match For now, I'm going to say that we should get John Cena versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Folks, this is a beautiful full circle moment. It would give John Cena the opportunity to become a Grand Slam champion, one of the accolades that's missing from his already illustrious Hall of Fame, GOAT status career. But it's also against Sami Zayn, the guy that Cena gave an opportunity to with the United States Open Challenge all of those years ago and introduced Sami Zayn to the world of main roster WWE Universe fans. So it's a beautiful little poetic story of full circle of Cena helping create and start and jumpstart Sami Zayn's career, and Sami Zayn being a major component in the end of Cena's. I would personally love to see it. I think you could come up with like 10 different really viable matches for John Cena at WrestleMania, but I really like this idea, so this is what I'm gonna pitch for now. Let's go back to Monday Night Raw and look at a match for the WWE Women's World Championship. Now, for this one, I decided to make the best possible match with the best talent available on Monday Night Raw, and that is Rhea Ripley, most likely going in as the champion, taking on Iyo Sky. Tell me that that match wouldn't absolutely melt your eyeballs. Iyo Sky and Rhea Ripley, for the most part, have been held away from each other ever since they've both come up to the main roster, with Iyo Sky having been a WWE Women's Champion as a member of Damage Control over on SmackDown, and Rhea Ripley dominating on Monday Night Raw. They are now both on Monday Night Raw, and they have yet to cross paths, partly because of this Rhea Ripley injury. At some point or another, these two heavyweights of the women's division are gonna have to go at it. I don't know if it makes sense to do it earlier, but I know that in terms of match quality, it makes sense at WrestleMania. So I'm gonna go with the best available talent at Monday Night Raw to represent the women's side. I'm sure that they can create an awesome feud. Damage Control versus Judgment Day could be hilarious hijinks in its own, but then once the bell rings, it could be one of those matches that we could look back on and say this was a WrestleMania classic. Rhea Ripley had the WrestleMania classic of WrestleMania 39. Iyo Sky had the WrestleMania classic of WrestleMania 40. Put them together and let them make the WrestleMania classic of WrestleMania 41. Let's look at a match for some pair of WWE tag titles. I don't care if it's the World Tag titles, WWE tag titles. I'm saying that at some point, we are going to get the Usos versus some iteration of the Bloodline for the tag titles, whether it's Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, the Tongas. For now, I'm going to say it's going to be the best available talent. Maybe Solo isn't necessarily the best, but he's definitely the most prominent, most likely at that point going into WrestleMania. So I'm going to say it'll be Solo Sikoa for the added star power and Jacob Fatu for the awesome stuff that he can do in ring. I think that this match could be borderline legendary when it comes to all-time great tag team matches at WrestleMania. Not only would it be for gold, but it would also be for family, honor, the Usos likely representing the tribal chief Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa representing the tribal final boss, I guess we could call him that, The Rock. So there's just such an easy story to tell there that could help not just, of course, give us a great match, but help elevate the importance of the tag titles, which right now, as of the making of this video, are kind of struggling to really feel special. So put this in an important storyline like the Bloodline storyline, and I think you can make fireworks with the tag titles. The next match is a combination of a blood feud, but also the best available match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. In some way, shape, or form, I think this needs to close night one. I think it needs to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, and add Gunther in there to make this maybe the greatest multi-man person match in the history of WrestleMania. At the very least, in terms of skill on paper, this would be iconic. The match that these guys can have would be borderline mouth-watering and eyeball melting. Of course, you have the existing history between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre that I'm sure at that point will be at a boiling point. I'm sure all three of them will have had matches with one another leading into WrestleMania. I think that you could just make this a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship, but I just have a hard time keeping Gunther out of this. I have a hard time visualizing how Gunther isn't part of the World Heavyweight Championship picture at WrestleMania, which is why I tossed him in here. And I don't hate it because it adds to the match in terms of star quality while still preserving the hatred that Punk, McIntyre, and Seth Rollins have for one another. I think this match could be one of the best matches in WrestleMania history if they allow it to develop as such. And I believe worthy of main eventing, at the very least, night one of WrestleMania.
Oh my God!
God!
Do you hear the music?
I do! He's literally making a pizza! To this day, it's still infuriating how this ended. This is crazy. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I told you to go to that table.
Folks, that was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, you're going to be getting Edge versus Mick Foley at WrestleMania 22, a match involving a guy that makes pizza during his matches. The Undertaker versus Kurt Angle at No Way Out 2006, CM Punk versus John Cena at Raw 1000, and the famous Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest at Backlash 2023. You get all of this, including the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early, the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, and more. So if you want all of that extra value, all of those videos that we simply cannot show on YouTube, come on over to patreon.com/SantiZap. I'll put the link in the description, or it'll be the link in the pinned comment. Come check it out. Even try just for 1 month. I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with it. Back to the video. I think that this is the WrestleMania where you do what you had originally planned for last year's WrestleMania after hearing the documentary. The Rock versus Roman Reigns, I feel like, is the destination that they're going with at WrestleMania 41. We have the stuff right now as of the making of this video happening with Bloodline 2.0, Solo Sikoa, the impending return of Roman Reigns. I still think that at some point, we're going to find out that it was the final boss Rock that was pulling the strings on Solo Sikoa this entire time, because The Rock is disappointed in his tribal chief for losing the championship against a different royal family of of professional wrestling in a Rhodes. So to me, this is an easy one. It writes itself. It's the one that they already had planned. The star power is insurmountable in terms of star power. This would be the biggest match ever in the history of the WWE. Everyone wants to do it. Everyone wants to see it. The only reason people didn't want to see it at WrestleMania 40 is because WWE had already cornered themselves with Cody Rhodes, and we wanted Cody. Hashtag we want Cody. Remember that, Cody crybabies? But let's not do that to ourselves again at WrestleMania 41. We've always wanted The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Now it makes sense. Let's finally do it. I don't have anything to go off of here. I mostly just want to see this because I feel like it could be a barnyard classic. You know, sometimes WrestleMania just decides to put two of the best workers in the ring to give us the best possible match. Think of WrestleMania 21, Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. They were on opposing brands, but hey, best possible workers, put them together. Maybe let's do that with Ilya Dragunov and Logan Paul. Would it be for the United States title? I don't know. I'm going to say sure. Let's say that Logan Paul is still United States champion here in some way, shape, or form. Somehow Ilya Dragunov is going after it. Look, I have nothing to go off of aside from the fact that I know that this match would be fucking fantastic and I want to see it, and I know that you want to see it, and I know that everyone around the world wants to see it. Another match that so many of us have been clamoring for, and I do think that it's available now, it's Bron Breakker versus Brock Lesnar. A lot of people were calling for Brock Lesnar to come back as soon as SummerSlam to take on Bron Breakker with how much chaos Bron Breakker was causing on Monday Night Raw. A lot of us thought that it was going to be Adam Pearce to have to call in a trump card and bring in a Brock Lesnar to tame somebody like a Bron Breakker. But this is the match, right? Like, Bron Breakker is more or less being treated like the Brock Lesnar of the 20-year-olds at the moment. What better way to cement him as the Brock Lesnar of the future than by having him go up against and hopefully beat the actual Brock Lesnar? You know that this match would be incredible. Both of these guys are genetic freaks, both literally and figuratively, as they call themselves. Well, just Bron Breakker. And dude, the heights that this could reach in terms of quality, in terms of physical feats that these guys can accomplish would be insane. And if I have my way, I have Braun Breaker winning with a shooting star press like Brock Lesnar wasn't able to do back at WrestleMania 19 to really one-up Brock Lesnar. And last but not least, we have the WWE Undisputed Championship match between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. At this point, I'm going to presume that Cody Rhodes is still the champion, that he's beaten all comers at this point, but we've seen Randy Orton look at that championship. Randy Orton has been having the voices in his head. You know what I'm talking about. You've been seeing him glance at that Undisputed Championship every now and then. It's going to happen at some point or another. It's not looking like it's going to be SummerSlam. That's looking to be a spot saved for Solo Sikoa. Maybe the Royal Rumble, but I don't see it. I feel like that match is too big and has too much legacy for it to not take at a place like WrestleMania. Again, I like the idea of Randy and John Cena, but I think that we can hit multiple birds with one stone here and give us multiple matches that people are clamoring to see. Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes being one of those, and this type of match deserves the biggest possible stage. I'm going to say that this match happens at WrestleMania 41. All right, folks, obviously there are so many people like the Kevin Owenses of the world that have been left off of this. Rest assured they will be added to a future video. I just didn't know right now where to put them, but that's it, folks. I'm done. I'll see you in 3 months for the 6 months out video. Get out of here.